Right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sunday, Father's Day, Unity of Bremerton. We thank you for joining us, and we're going to start right off with some music from our both guest speaker and musician for the day, Michael Gregory.
Wow, looks like you got the words up already too. Well, you guys are good. This is called Only Believe. It's a Unity Standard. Only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe, only believe, only believe, all things are possible. Only believe.
All right, welcome, everyone. We're very happy that you are here with us today. Our guest speaker is Reverend Michael Gregory, and he's also going to be our musician for today. And Laura is helping out with platform duties today.
All right, kind loving spirit. Kind loving spirit, flowing through me now. Kind loving spirit is flowing through me now. Kind loving spirit is flowing through me now. I am that spirit. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. I am that spirit. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. My loving spirit is flowing through me now. I am that spirit. I am that spirit. I am that spirit.
Now is the time for the lighting of the Christ candle. This represents the divine light within each of us. And our mission statement: we are a welcoming community supporting our mutual quest for spiritual truth. And Laura?
And our invocation. There is one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotence.
And now Michael again with another song, There's Only One God.
Thank you. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one light, it lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. Power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here with me. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one life, it lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. Power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here with me. There is only one God, everywhere present. There is only one life, it lives in you and me. There is only one love that joins us all together. Power of the universe flows through you and me. God is love. God is good. God is here with me. God is love. God is good. God is here with me. There is only one God.
Now it's time for the daily word in honor of Marilyn. I give thanks for all expressions of fatherly love. My relationship with my father may have been positive and nurturing or difficult and challenging. He may have been a strong presence during my childhood, or he may have been absent. We may be part of each other's lives today, we may be estranged, or he may have passed from earthly life. Whatever our circumstances, I bless my father and I see him enfolded in divine love. As I honor my father, I also honor all the father figures who have helped guide me along my path. Family members, teachers, neighbors, clergy, employers, and friends. I bless them all as I recall all the ways each one, in a unique way, has modeled strength, guidance, wisdom, and patience. Their presence remains with me thanks to their gifts of fatherly love. From Proverbs chapter 4, verse 11, I have taught you the way of wisdom. I have led you in the paths of uprightness.
Thank you, Laura. All right, Unity Happenings. Next Sunday, June 28th, our guest speaker will be friend Gregory. She will continue with our Back to the Basics program, and we'll be sharing Unity Principle number 4 and how we can apply it in our daily lives. Kitsap County has applied for phase 3 of reopening, which would allow Kitsap residents to gather in groups of no more than 50 people. An article in the Kitsap Sun states that Kitsap appears to meet most of the state's criteria for phase 3. To start, Kitsap's confirmed COVID-19 cases fell well below a limit of 25 cases per 100,000 residents in a 2-week period. Testing volume also exceeded the state's targets, and case and contact tracing has held up strong, with investigators successfully contacting all new cases within a day and most close contacts within 2 days. Kitsap County expects to hear back next week on their application for entering into phase 3. So if phase 3 is approved, I will email our membership to get everyone's input on whether or not we're ready to start meeting again in person. So please stay tuned for that. It'll be an email or it'll be a survey. I'm not quite sure which yet, but I want to get everybody's feedback to see where we're at and when we might want to start meeting again, because I know everybody wants to, but whether or not we're comfortable and we feel safe enough to do so, we'll figure that out together. And so please stay tuned. After service, we'll have some fellowship today to just chit chat amongst ourselves. And visit for a little bit in our current stay-at-home orders. But now we'll have some more music.
It's a song called Works. It's a story from the Bible. Hang on. There, I should take care of that. Sorry. All these works I do, you shall also do. And the power within me also lives in you. All the light that shines in me also shines in you. And the love within your heart will always see you through. Ask it and you shall receive. No matter what may be, heaven's key, it's in your hand. God is standing where you stand. All these works I do, you shall also do. Power within me also lives in you. All the light that shines in me also shines in you. And the love within your heart will always see you through. Ask it and you shall receive. excited, you shall also win. So good morning, everybody. I'm Michael Gregory, here to talk to you today about the third unity principle. Thoughts have creative power to determine events and attract experiences. I'll say that again. Thoughts have creative power to determine events and attract experiences. In unity, we like to say thoughts are things. So in other words, that which you think about is what you create in your life. There's a little more to it than that, but that's the basic part of it. Jesus said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. Same type of thing. How do you feel about yourself? How do you feel about, what are your primary thoughts, I think, is the most important part of this particular principle. Thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. That's another thing that's brought up in unity. Now, the wording is kind of important here because thoughts held in mind produced after their kind. So in other words, if you think something errant about someone and you don't focus on that thought, that's not really going to necessarily manifest in your life. But if you continuously say things like, I'm sick, or I'm sick and tired of this, you'll be sick and tired, because that's what the universe does. The universe always says yes. It doesn't argue with you. It says, well, that's what you want. That's what you're going to get. So you need to think, we need to try to think more positive thoughts, more productive thoughts in our lives, not just, not just let the thoughts run wild, so to speak, and do whatever, but actually think about what you're thinking about. I know that sounds like probably the craziest thing you've heard today, but that's kind of the way it works. You have to kind of take this principle and say, okay, what am I thinking? Am I thinking something good, something bad, indifferent? And also, I'm judging that thought when I say it's good or bad, right? So is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. Sometimes we're in situations that are very stressful, and you need to be very careful how you think, because you can become angry, you can become upset, you can become fearful. All sorts of things can happen when you have thoughts that are just running wild. So this is why you want to try to focus, calm yourself down. So sometimes I got to think, okay, calm down. It's all good. Everything's going to be all right. I have to trust God. I have to believe that God's going to take care of me, and I do. The reason many people think prayer does not work is because their prayers contradict their intentions or thoughts. They pray for specific, I can't talk today, specific outcomes. I want a 1972 Ford GT, whatever. And then when they get a newer car, it's much nicer. They're like, well, God wasn't listening to my prayers. I mean, what happened? Or you keep saying again, I'm sick, I'm tired, but I want to be, but I want to be well. Well, when you say I want to be well, that doesn't mean you are well. So in unity, we try to use what they call, we call positive or affirmative thoughts, or affirmative thinking, affirmative statements. I am well, or I'm getting well, or I'm feeling better today is more helpful than, oh man, I don't feel so good. Sometimes you do have to say, I don't feel so good, so you can get medical attention or whatever. I mean, we all understand that. But the bottom line is, how do I get out of being sick? I don't want to stay sick. At least I shouldn't anyway. I would hope most people don't want to stay sick. So we try to use this, once again, creative thought, the creative power of thought to change that condition in our lives. That's really what we're talking about here. A more effective way to pray is to allow God to show you the real answer, not necessarily the one you want. It's called affirmative prayer, as I just said. Claim health, prosperity, wisdom, and divine guidance, not weakness or fear. Now, I'm a Course in Miracles student, and the Course says there's two things in life: love and fear. Those are the two powers that operate in our lives on a regular basis every moment. So am I thinking from love, or am I thinking from fear? What I want to do is change that fearful thought to a loving thought. So how can I do that? Well, I'm not sure exactly, but I work on it a little bit. So sometimes I have to just go, well, yeah, I'm coming from fear right now. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh my gosh, looking today at the COVID thing and all the other things that are going on crazy in this country, it's easy to be pretty fearful. But we can change that. We don't have to live in that fearful moment. We can decide to be happy. We can decide to be have fruitful lives. We can decide to be more comfortable in our own skin, and that's what we're trying to do here. That's what unity is about, and it's about living these principles in your life, not something out there, not God up in the sky, but rather expressing God from within yourself. Let thy will be done, not in my will, as they say in the Lord's Prayer. It says, thy will be done. Thy is God's will, my will, not so much. If I follow along with God's will, if I look for that in my life, what's God's will for me right now? What does God want me to do? Where does God want me to be? Then I can start to function a lot better and be able to look for that. What is thy will for me? You want a new home. Maybe the house that you had in mind has termites, but you don't know that. So you can't, you can, of course, but you don't want to focus only on that house, for example, but rather the one that's going to be safe, right? I mean, that makes a lot more sense. You want one that doesn't have termites. That'd be better. So you might not know why you didn't get that thing or that person or that relationship or whatever it is you think you wanted. It may not be good for you. If you trust God to take care of that, you'll find that your life will be much, much better. If you want to change your mind, change your thoughts, change the dominant belief system that you have, because you attract what you believe. I will say that one again. If you want to change your life, change your thoughts. Change your dominant belief system. You attract that which you believe. That's what this thing says. Again, thoughts have creative power to determine events and attract experiences. So we've got to keep remembering that principle. So this ties totally into that. So if I want to change my life, I'm not very wealthy at the moment. I don't have a job. Whatever it is that I feel that I'm lacking, I can achieve that. But I have to see and affirm that I actually have it. Spiritually, I have it. I may not have it physically, but I have it inside. I have it in my thoughts. I have it in my prayers. I have it in my trust in God. And then one more time, that's where we want to lead ourselves, is back to God, not away from. Away from God leads you to fear, because now you have no help. You have no one to take care of you. But if you go back to, I have God, God's always with me, God's in me, God is part of me, I am part of God. There's no separation here, as I mentioned in some of the songs earlier. I'm not separate from God. I can't be separate from God. I can choose not to believe in God. I can choose not to deny God, if you will, but God will never deny me. God always has me. I'm part of God. And you're with part of God whether you like it or not. It's really not a choice. It's something that's already there. And God in unity is not some guy in the sky, it's more of a, if you will, the infinite creative force of the universe, the unlimited wisdom of the universe, the unlimited power of the universe. That's God. We don't know that could be a guy in the sky with a beard, I guess, but that really doesn't make a lot of sense. God exceeds that idea a zillion times, beyond our belief, beyond our perception. The universe responds to your thoughts and gives you what you affirm. If you're constantly saying, I'm sick and tired, as I mentioned earlier, you will be right. The I am, that is you, I am, the determining thought, I am is another word for God. So I am, when I say I am sick, I am healthy, pick one. I am wealthy, I am full of life. And as you know, our founder, Charles Fillmore, used to say, he was 90 some odd years old. I don't remember. I'm sorry if I don't remember the exact age, but he said, I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm. That was his quote. So he felt like he was alive and alert and awake. And we used to say in the other unity, I'm alive, alert, awake, joyous, and enthusiastic about life. And that's how we started our service. And that set the tone for that service. That set the tone for that day. And if you can remember those words and put that into your, a little spark in your step, a little lift there, it can really help you out and really make you feel better. So remember, the universe responds to that. That's how it works. In other words, the universe is built on law. There's a law of the universe that we're using here. It's not just, God is the law of the universe, not just, again, some guy in the sky, but rather the laws that the universe functions by are God. The presence of God is always there. It's everywhere. It's on Pluto and it's on Earth. It's all over the universe. There's no spot where God does not exist. If I constantly affirm, I want more income, I'm poor, you'll be waiting for prosperity for a long time. But if you say, I have unlimited or sufficient income, for example, you might be right then too. So what would you like to have? Would you rather be poor or would you rather have unlimited income? I'd like unlimited income, frankly, that's my vote. So I think that maybe if I use those thoughts instead of the other ones, because I do sometimes fall down and, forget, if you will, that I'm a child of God. I'm not just here for practice. I'm a child of God. And so are you, everyone that's listening to this today. And if you're not listening to this today, it doesn't matter, you're a child of God. Nothing changes there. God is it's Father's Day, so I guess we can say Father, as Jesus referred to God as his Father. But Father doesn't mean a guy. To us, yes, that's what that means. But in a unity, it means the principle of the Father, what the Father does. What does the Father do? Protects, guides, restores, builds. The mother's the more nurturing. The mother side is the more nurturing. In other words, we have a male and female natures within all of us, and the male generally has more male, and the female generally has more female. But that's not really true necessarily either. God is always present in your life. Your life is an expression of God. It's not something else. It's you. Oh, I'm sorry. And life is an expression of God. And as we discussed a few weeks ago, God always creates what you would prefer to create. So what would you prefer to create? That's the question. What would you like to create in your life? Think about that for a few minutes. What is it that you want in your life? Or is it a relationship? Is it more money? Are you not feeling well and you want better health? Those things are important things. And we all need those things. We all thrive when those things are doing well. And when they're not doing well, we don't. And that's a fact of life. But we can change it. Once again, that's what this principle is about. It's about being able to change your thoughts, change your life. There's even a book out there that says those words. Life does not function by accident. It's because of our thoughts that we live where we live and we're doing what we're doing and we're experiencing the life that we're experiencing because of the way we're thinking. And and once again, as I mentioned earlier, you can analyze your thoughts. What am I thinking right now? That's kind of funny, I guess. But I guess to me, it's the soul, basically. It's like the soul is over here going, we can ignore it, once again, choose not to see it, not to listen to it. But my soul can actually look at my thoughts, if you will. My spirit can look at my thoughts, is a better word perhaps, and say, okay, Michael, what are you thinking about right now? Oh, okay, well, I'm thinking I'm in a fear-based position right now. What do I do about that? And I can choose God or I can choose the fear. God always creates. So what would you prefer to create? And I know maybe I may be repeating some things here, but I think it's important. That's why I'm using different examples to try to make the same point here. God creates. That's what God does. God doesn't not create. God doesn't uncreate. God creates. That's what God does. there's a book on how many, the things that God can't do, and that exists too. I don't know who wrote it, but there is a book out there like that. And I'm not going to go through all the things that God can't do, but there's things God can't do because God creates. God doesn't destroy. God transforms. God, makes things change. Change is part of God. It's not some separate thing. Well, I want everything to stay the same. Well, what's that even mean? You're not staying the same, whether you like it or not. You're changing. Everything's changing. The planet's changing. The universe is changing. The position that we have to the sun and the moon and so forth, if you listen to science, they'll tell you it's never quite the same 2 times in a row. If you're a 12-stepper, you must know that you must start to see things differently if you want a better life. So let me repeat that. If you're a 12-stepper, and some of you are, you know that you must start to see things differently if you want to start a better life. So if you're in this, addiction situation, and that's something that a lot of people are familiar with, or you're not in the situation of being addicted, but you have someone in your life that's addicted to something, or addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, it can be extremely difficult, as you know. I was Al-Anon for many years, and I learned that this idea of seeing things differently was very important. I had to understand that this person wasn't doing this to me; they're doing it because that's what they do, and they don't see that there's a problem with that. I'm the one that sees the problem, and I'm going to fix it. Right? I'm going to go and fix you. I'm going to make sure that you do the things the way I want them done, or the way I think they should be done. And as they say, don't should all over yourself. Be careful about that. So try to see things differently. Try to find a way to, if you're not able to do that on your own, maybe talk to a counselor, go to a 12-step group. I highly recommend them. Talk to someone here at Unity. We have practitioners who can actually, chaplains is the right word. Yeah, we have chaplains here that can talk to you about your problems in life and listen and talk to you and give you some direction, maybe that might help you. You also learn that you attract certain people into your life, but you must sometimes choose not to hang around with those people for your own peace of mind. So again, this 12-step program helps you with that. It's something you can consider doing, and you can I stopped going to the 12-step programs when I found Unity Church. I came here and found what I was looking for. I finally found a place that was home for me, a spiritual home for me. So I don't need all that other stuff anymore, but I still acknowledge that those things are good and that they're necessary and that they can help you. Don't be afraid to try something different. Don't be afraid to go out there and do, a different thing, think a different thought. We have dogs here, by the way, and they're acting up a little bit. And we're at home. Yes, this is my living room. You also learn to the only way you're going to get peace of mind, going back to that thought again, is understanding that you cannot control everything, especially other people, but you can control what? Your thoughts. Comes right back to that. It's how you think about what's going on that's important, not so much what's going on, because you can't see a solution if you're wrapped up in the ball of, if you will, of confusion that's maybe around you. You need to get out of it, and that's where prayer and meditation comes in. Well, Fran's going to talk about that next week, but anyway, that's how you get out. But first, you need to recognize where you are. And that's what this is about. This is about knowing where I am, how did I get here? Your thoughts brought you to this time, this space, this place today, right now. It's not something that happened to you. It's something that happened because of you. You are the creator of your universe. You're the creator of your own life. Why? Because thoughts have creative power, and the thought that you are less than brings trouble every time. I wrote some of the stuff down. I like it. So how do you get the trouble in your life? Well, you start thinking you're less than, you're not as good as, you're guilty of something that you don't even know what it is. Guilt is not something that Unity teaches. There is no original sin, so to speak. We don't talk about that. It's not something that's an issue. You are a creation of God. God didn't mess up anything. There's no junk. God didn't create junk. God created you, the spiritual being that you are, connected to the body and the mind, but the spirit is the part of you that lives on. That's the part of you that carries, that we talk about reincarnation. Some people believe in that. I do. I believe the spirit is the part that continues on. Whether I come back as a goat or I don't know, a person or whatever, I'm not really sure about that. But I believe that my spirit does carry on through eternity because God created my spirit and me. My identity is God. God does not want you to be a victim. We are each children of a loving, forgiving God. Your dignity is God's value. So when you decide that you're not valuable, think again. God's your creator. God made you. And everything that's going on with you is God too. There's no separation between these things. And your thoughts and your actions and the way you've lived your life and so forth is why you're where you are. You put yourself where you are. Someone else didn't do this. Blaming another person is absolutely no help at all. It doesn't help you. What you need to do is and the 12-step groups talk about that too. What was my part in this situation? One of the steps, I don't remember which one it is because it's been a long time. But anyway, one of them says, what was, you can't apologize for someone else, but you can apologize for your part in the situation. Did you take part in the situation? If you did, you had some responsibility. And if you had some responsibility, you accept that and you move on. That's the process. It's true. Let's see. We must learn to value ourselves as we value others. It's true equality. In other words, you are equal to the other person because you're valuable, they're valuable. It's not a government edict, but a spiritual gift. The government doesn't give you freedom. The government doesn't give you your life. You do. In the United States, we're supposed to be part of this process of how the country works. So what's your part? Are you being helpful right now? Or are we being destructive? I don't know. That's up to you to answer. The thought for the best result is, I am part of God. I am never separate from God. I have an equal right to be happy and free. I'd like to repeat that as well. I am a part of God. I am never separate from God. I have an equal right to be happy and free. I think that kind of speaks for itself. No one is worth more than you in the mind of God. Create a life with your thoughts that suits you, and it will automatically honor all of us. So bear with me for 1 second. There we go. No one is worth more than you in the mind of God. Think about that for a moment. There's no person, race, nationality. None of these things matter to God. Those are all inventions of man. And in the Course in Miracles says we made this life. We didn't. God, it's not created. We made it. It's like a car. You make a car, but it's not permanent. It doesn't last forever. What's created is God created. God created eternal. God created something that's called truth. God created something that's called love. And it's eternal. It lives beyond this physical world. So no one is worth more than you in the mind of God. Create your life with thoughts that suit you, and you will automatically honor us all. It is God's great pleasure to give you the kingdom. You've heard that, I'm sure. Playing small and submissive will not help you or anyone else learn the respect or value that you deserve. So Marianne Williamson said this, playing small or submissive will not help you. So think about that for a few minutes. Playing small isn't helpful to you. Oh, I'm not that good. Oh, She's so much better. He's so much better. I'll never get there because they're better than I am. And I should be groveling at their feet. I mean, no, that's not going to get you anywhere. That's not what God wants for you. That is false. That is fear, is what that is. And when you can identify that I'm afraid that I'm less than, that's what that is. It's fear. If I believe I'm less than, it's fear. It's not love. Love wouldn't tell me that I'm less than. Love would tell me that I'm, love. Wonderful. Great. Good stuff. You must the thought that you must control others or fix anyone else's problems basically says that the other person is not one of God's children and is incapable of making their own decisions. So in order to give these people that you think you're helping the dignity that they deserve, you need to stop helping them. Because you're acting again, what? Out of fear. You're afraid that they can't do it. So you have to. Meanwhile, you can't. So it's just a big circle of frustration. Oh, this is a circle. I'm sorry. Right? It's a circle of frustration. You just keep frustrating yourself. You just keep trying to fix the other person, and you can't do that. What is that about? What is that thought about? That thought is about, once again, fear. Because they're going to fail. My child is going to have a problem, and I'm not going to be able to solve their problem. It's not your job. When they're tiny, yes, it's your job. But when they're 22, you can't solve the problems anymore. Why? Because A, their thoughts created their problems. That's how they got where they are. You didn't make them be that way, and it's not your failure as a parent because they decided to go do something stupid. It's because they decided to do something stupid. Not your fault. Everything is not, and the less you try to control other people and other things, the happier you're going to be, because you can let that all go. You don't have to cling to all of it. So those thoughts that you think are very important. Your thoughts, again, are things. Your thoughts control your life. Your thoughts determine your life the way it is. Again, remember, thoughts held in mind produce after their kind. So once again, thoughts held in mind. And what is that holding? What do you want to hold on to? If you're gripping so tight to it, is it worth it? Is it worth holding on to? If it's a negative thing and it's a fearful thing, you don't want to hold on to fear. You want to hold on to love. You want to hold on to the solution to your problem, not the problem. So think about that. How can I solve this? Yeah, okay. Acknowledge that the problem is there. That's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Even might want to talk about it with folks. Oh man, I'm having a rough time at my job or whatever's going on. I'm really having, it's a tough time right now. My God, what are we going to do here? Well, think about it and then try to find a loving solution. Let God help you. Put out the lifeline. Hey, God, I'm here. What do you want me to do? Where do you want me to go? What is your will for me? Not mine. My will is always a little off. God's will always works. Hold the highest thoughts in your mind starting today. Don't wait, okay? It's Father's Day, it's 21st of June, but don't wait. This moment is gone, or it's going to be gone very quickly. So once again, hold the highest thoughts in your mind starting today. The highest thoughts. Just for yourself, but for everyone else you know as well. So hold the children and the family and the folks that you're worried about. Hold a good thought for them. That's what you want for them. You want the best for them. It'd be better to pray that my child learns to understand how life works than to try to make them understand how life works. Because then they can find it on their own. And they can put that into practice and they can make their own changes in their life. And you'll see that they'll do amazing things. So think it, create it, and be it. That's my message for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to play another song. This one, my stalling part again. Oh, Cindy's taking over for a moment, I think. Or did I run out of time? What happened? It went away. It went away. Can't believe that. On my back. Looks like. Okay. So special music. Got it. I am a tiny seed planted in the ground. What is this I hear from everywhere around? I smell the precious light that everywhere about. And yet I'm just a seed planted in the ground. I feel the wet rain, I hear the thunder sound. Waters everywhere as I rise above the ground. Oh, I may feel the change, I'm expanding all around. Or am I a seed planted in the ground? Now 7 years have passed, my flesh is now bound. I'm rooted where I stand, I at least tread all around. They're carried by the wind, my seeds they find more ground. Part of life is all around. I thought the past was coming, now I've fallen to the ground. What is this I hear from everywhere around? I'm still a precious light that everywhere about. My seedlings stand so tall, and my seeds are in the ground. And the precious light that everywhere about. I'm just a little seed planted in the ground. I am a little seed planted in the ground.
Thank you, Michael. Does anybody have any questions for Michael before we let him off the hook today? That was a great talk and some great reminders there, Michael. I made a couple of notes and shared them out up with our YouTube attendees. The think it, create it, be it. You can control your thoughts. Very important these days, especially when we're inundated with so much other social media and negative news and everything else. It's a good reminder that we are in charge of what we're actually thinking. Anyone have any questions for Michael? All right. Well, we thank you, Michael, and we will see you again soon. Thanks for the talk and the music. Wonderful as always. So now is our time for offertory. And as you're preparing your tithes and love offerings today, think about how blessed you are. And as you are writing your check or giving your gift, send your blessings out. We have 2 ways for you to send your gift to Unity of Bremerton. You can mail your check to us, our P.O. Box 2218, Bremerton, Washington, 98310. Or you can make a donation online at our website, www.unitybremerton.org, and click on the Make a Donation tab.
Our blessing. Divine love in and through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
All right, and now it's time for our good news. I do want to start before I open everything up. The McAllister family, I would like everybody, if you would, if you're so inclined, to send out some affirmative prayers and support to them as they are dealing with some family issue. Our dear Jamie has gone down south to donate blood marrow or bone marrow to his brother. So I know that I'm praying for them and lighting a candle for them in support of this very wonderful, loving journey that they're taking together. And we also have our beloved Miss Candace, who's going in for hip surgery this coming Friday. So if you would please also pray for her and her speedy recovery, and that goes beautifully, as we know it will. All right, so I'm going to open it up to everyone else. Who else would like to share some good news?
Yes.
Joy, we got your note this week in the mail. Do you want to share your good news with the group?
Hi, this is Joy. What did I write?
Well, June 19th.
Oh, I am officially retired. I am done with 36 years of being a teacher.
Wow.
I'm retired.
That is amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you, honey.
I'm sure the kids will miss you terribly, but good for you.
Yeah, it's a two-way street. I will miss the people that I work with a lot, because it does take a village to raise a child. And in this day and age, it really helps to have a strong, supportive group of people lifting each other up, so that when, oh my God, what did that child just do? Or what did that just happen? There is somebody that lifts you up and reminds you of the good that you do.
Absolutely. Yes, these kids, I was just going to say, especially these days, need all the support from all the different areas that they can get.
Oh, yes. This whole virtual learning has been a virtual experience. And I will go mute now on that happy note.
All right. Well, thank you and congratulations, Joy. We're happy for you. Michael and Fran, we want you to know that it's been questioned on whether or not you're going to stay for fellowship today. So we hope that you will join us at least for a little bit of fellowship with the group. But if there's no good news, other good news, is there any?
Cindy, can you hear me?
Yep, go right ahead, Nora.
Okay, I finally, after a long time of arguing with Kaiser Permanente, I was able to get my glasses, and they fit, and I can see, actually.
Woohoo!
And I like it.
Good thing, since you're driving for Uber, we want you to see.
Yes, that's what I told them. And they threatened, and only if they're broken, and I was about ready to throw them down and lose them.
Well, there you go. Amazingly, it just happened.
Yeah.
Good for you. Anybody else have good news?
We're almost done with our renovations.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is good news.
You have no idea. I never want to see a paintbrush again as long as I live.
Morris, do you have some good news?
Yes. I had the opportunity to pick strawberries, fresh strawberries, right from the community garden yesterday. I really like that. And I picked enough to share with my family and also with friends. Fresh strawberries right from the community garden.
Ooh, that sounds lovely.
Cindy, I have another good news.
Yeah?
Well, it's more of shock and surprise. I went out to go do laundry, and my neighbor talked to me. And her and I, for those that know, have not been best friends by any means, or on speaking terms by any means. And And today her dad was over there and he waved at me, and so she said hi to me, and it told me what his name was, or I told him what my name was, and I'm okay. I'm a little leery as to why that happened, but I will hold it that it will be good.
Well, we'll call it a Father's Day miracle.
Yes. And Laura got to see one of the possibility of my new apartment.
Very cool. Awesome. All right. Well, let's go ahead. We'll continue on with finishing up service, and then we'll open it up to fellowship. So please stay tuned for that.
Okay, so Fran's going to help me out. She's sitting here.
Yeah, not singing, but I'll help.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.